So hello everybody, my name is Blake. I run a little company called Mucky Fingers, which is about trying to encourage people to grow some of their own produce. We're at the time of year now where we have some wonderful vegetables coming through. We're right at the very end of asparagus season, but we still have some here left that we can use, and I'm going to show you a good tip for cooking those, as well as courgettes, which are now in season and are very abundant. This is also a vegetable that you can grow in a fairly large pot you'll need, but you can grow this on your patio or by your back door quite easily as well. And once they get going, they're often quite fruitful. So I have a great tip for cooking things like this that's really energy saving by starting them off, but then moving them to things like this. You'll need a nice tight sealing lockbox, storage box. We often have these kicking around, and we're going to show you how to save some energy but also end up with a really good result as well. So we're going to maybe start off with the asparagus, and I just go along tapping until I hit it, till it goes through, and that's it. You know it's the end. Straight in the pan, no oil or anything, and you can just, as long as the pan is nice and hot. The asparagus has been going now for a few minutes in here on a high heat. I've turned them over once and we've got some coloration on there. There's a lot of heat gone into the vegetable now, so my tip to, rather than continue cooking on the heat, is to get your lock and lock box like this. You take your asparagus, pop them in there. You can season a little bit if you like with your salt is good, and pepper is good. And you can take some lemon juice, which is also nice. I like to keep it relatively simple with asparagus. Get your lock and lock on. Leave it by the sides somewhere warm. You can then carry on cooking whilst that is finishing off. So using the same method as we did the asparagus, but in a slightly larger box, we're doing a courgette dish. The way we cut the courgette for this dish is really simple, but go nice and slow. First of all, we just take the little end off where the flower was. Don't even bother about the other end because that's just waste. You do want to get the courgette with a flat bottom to it. So this is probably the trickiest cut, but just go nice and steady, keep your fingers out of the way. Just take one edge off the bottom, and then once you have the flat bottom like that, it's much easier. So then you want to take your courgette and cut into relatively thick pieces. I'm talking about maybe 1/2 centimetre, like that. So you want some thick pieces like that. Rather than putting oil in the pan, we're going to use a little bit of cooking oil. Just brush the courgettes very lightly, that's all it needs. You really don't need very much at all. Again, hot pan like this, I'm going to get them in, make sure it's sizzling. We're using very little oil, so there's nothing going to splash around at you. And provided your pan is on nice and high, it will only take a minute or two on each side, and then that is it, because we're going to use our box for finishing them off. What I could do at this point is prepare some mint for this dish. This is the main herb for this dish. I'll just go nice and slowly, and they'll all be finely chopped for you there. So they've been cooking for about a minute or two now. We're starting to get a bit of coloration on each side. Perfect, there we go, if you can see that. There we go, we've got colour on both sides now. That is literally all the cooking you need. So you can take your courgette straight out of the pan, straight into your lock and lock box. That's it. Whilst it's hot, get your mint in there. You would have a little bit of salt, bit of pepper, and this time I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil, so you're adding a bit of oil afterwards. It creates its own marinade doing it this way. and we've got some white wine vinegar, I think, here. So we've got our cooked courgettes, fresh mint, salt and pepper, a little bit of oil, a little bit of vinegar. Whilst it's hot, get that lid on. It's immediately steaming up, you can see there, the residual heat. Just give it a mix around like that. And again, just like the asparagus we did earlier, you can stick that on the side, and it's just basically ready until you serve it. And so you can use it as a warm salad. So the courgette is now been cooking in some of its own heat, but still has a nice bite to it. It's been marinating in the olive oil, the fresh mint, and the vinegar and the salt and pepper. You can pretty much lay this, see how soft and wobbly that is. So you just lay it on your serving tray or plate. There we go. We're also going to put the asparagus on here as well. It'll be cooked in the same way. It's been sitting there a bit longer, and the asparagus is now soft enough to eat. Also, the zest of lemon, which you can just put over the top. We've also got some toasted hazelnuts here. You can use pretty much any nuts or seeds or anything you want. Just toast them in the oven a little bit. Works really well with this dish for texture and flavour. To have a twist of pepper is always good too. You can even have a little squeeze of lemon at the end. And there we go, it's finished. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a great time learning some new things about greens. If you want to learn more information about the Climate Diet campaign, head to the Cambridge Sustainable Food website below. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, Mucky Fingers, like and subscribe for some simple growing tips and how to love your greens. Enjoy your summer.